This is one to pay attention to. Alabama defensive back, one of the best young players in the SEC this year. Caleb Downs is planning on or has already entered into the transfer portal. So this is something we've talked about a lot over on Dog Posts on our message board, where all the premium members hang out. This is something we were in front of everybody on. So pay attention on this one to us specifically because we've had a beat on it for a little bit of time. Downs played at Mill Creek. He's been, he's really good. He had over 100 tackles for Alabama. And so why does it matter that he's going in the transfer portal? Well, I mean, that indicates he's not staying at Alabama. So with Robinson, his former position coach, staying at Georgia, coming to Georgia and staying at Georgia, um, you know, it seems pretty clear that Georgia is the leader or the target, however you want to put it, for Caleb Downs. It's not happened yet. We'll see what happens. I think that Downs is going to do his due diligence, looking around. But when you enter the portal, 95%, 98% of the time, you're not staying at the school that you are leaving from, so or going into the portal from. So that's something really important to monitor here because there's two things going on at once here. College football recruiting and the transfer portal is recruiting is a zero sum game. With Nick Saban gone from Alabama, um, not only does that hurt Bama in a tremendous way because the best coach of all time in college football is gone, but you're losing players now. Here's something that Matt DeBerry, who's got an extremely good beat on this, had to say on the message board. This is our premium message board. Again, this is the value of dog posts. He said, "This is about Caleb's future. I don't think there's much of a grudge talking about between him and Georgia." He said, "Caleb and the family know Kirby wants him badly. He may have been the guy they recruited the hardest in the 2023 class. Uh, Travaris Robinson being at Georgia helps them too. I don't think there's much question that Robinson, or T Rob as everyone calls him, being at Georgia matters a ton. But we're a week since Alabama's coach resigned or retired. These are the moving parts, and this might not be the last one from Alabama. We'll see, But if you were on Dog Post, you know, you know, you know, that there's been another player that's been kind of looking at Georgia as well. Um, I think, I think, you're the addition of Downs, which has not happened yet, but the addition of Downs to Georgia's secondary would give them the best two safeties in football right now, um, or coming into the 24th season. So that'd be Starks and Downs. It's not happened yet, but you know, it would be a huge bolster to Georgia for sure because you're looking at a secondary right now that has a lot of players for sure. But when you can add, the freshman player of the year for the league onto your roster, I mean, that's a big, big deal. That's a big deal. Now, how this all, works out over the next, we were told over the weekend, this is not going to happen super fast. And I don't know what other people's definition of super fast is, but I would say a few days later in the world that we live in, that's not super fast. Like it wasn't going to happen immediately, and it didn't happen immediately. I think that this is my I don't this is not inside information here, but just looking at it from where I'm sitting, you're talking about a player that now Alabama has hired their defensive coordinator. We know we know where they're going with things. He probably took a look at stuff and said, you know what, I think I think I can get a better situation at Georgia. That's where I'm going to go. And I don't I don't think this is any different than what Brock Vandergrift did. I mean, he felt like the best situation for him was to go to Kentucky. This really, I mean, I disagree with some of the folks that don't think this hurts Alabama. This definitely hurts Alabama. There's just no question about that. And if you can't, I mean, you're whistling past the graveyard here. I think if you're not acknowledging that losing arguably the best young player in the SEC. Although I would argue that I don't know if Malachi Starks is young anymore. So you're talking about one of the best players that's young in the SEC having 2 more years to play. Losing that, like, that does hurt for sure. I tell you what won't. This River's Edge Adirondack Rocker, Eco Poly is great. We got some more stuff that we're going to show y'all in the very near future that they've got that they're very excited about. We're excited about all we can do with them. 20-year warranty on this product, y'all. It's a completely recycled product made in the heart of Georgia. It's the real deal, man. The link is right down below. Take advantage of the offers that we can give y'all from Eco Poly. You're not going to get them anywhere else. This is a great product. And you can set yourself up for a while with these chairs. I use it every single day. I think for Downs, let's see where he winds up. A. But B, there's a couple of things on. There's A, B, C here. A, let's see where he winds up. B, for Alabama, this hurts. This is not a good thing. He is a extremely productive player. And I mean, there's a reason why Georgia went after him so hard in recruiting. Now, they didn't sign him, and Ohio State was his number 2 coming out of high school. But what we don't know is, what we didn't know then, I should say, is, things have changed at Ohio State too. I don't think they're viewed. I think it's a little bit harsh, but I don't think they're quite viewed the same way as they were not that long ago. The losses are just piling up a little bit too much, in my opinion, for them. But if you look at Downs, man, he was extremely productive for Alabama, y'all. I'll put it on the screen right now. Over 100 tackles. Now, in the perfect world, you really would not want your DBs making 100 tackles if you could help it. But he had monster games against LSU, against State. You're looking at just a lot of. He just was very productive. And no, it's not ideal for your safety to have 3 10-tackle games. But if they're really good, then that matters too. But he played well against Georgia. He was not unbelievable statistically against Georgia compared to what he did to some of these other teams. I mean, he just wrecked LSU. But now LSU and the way Georgia plays and the way LSU play are a little bit different. The way State has played, of course, they tried to change the way that they were. But he had an interception against State. He had an interception against Texas A&M. He almost had that. I think it was him that almost had the interception in the Rose Bowl. Just narrowly did not get his foot down. 70 solo tackles. Now, I know he's playing defensive back, but 70? That's a lot. That's a lot of, that's a lot of production. I don't care that's at defensive back. That's a lot of production. And then another 37, 3 tackles for loss. But the other thing too, 1 forced fumble against Texas. He just makes a lot of plays, y'all. I mean, you got the forced fumble against Texas, the interception against State, the interception against Texas A&M, a fumble recovery against Kentucky. I mean, there's not a lot. You don't get opportunities every single game, But as you just look at the production here, forget the 107 if you possibly can. The forced fumble against Texas, an interception against State, a pass breakup against Ole Miss, an interception against Texas A&M, a fumble recovery against Kentucky. those are not like that's not South Florida. I just rattled off 5 or 6 games where those are game-changing plays. You recover a fumble, not only are you getting the ball, but you're stopping a drive. You force a fumble, maybe you'll recover it, but probably the interceptions, obviously, and pass breakups, that can happen. But yeah, 3 of them this season, 2 in SEC play, but it's just the overall production. I mean, I don't see how anybody can act like this guy leaving Alabama is not a big deal. Now, the other question is, where are all these Alabama kids going to go? They're scattering out, it seems like. But Georgia may or may not be a destination for Downs. It sure seems like it's more of a destination than anywhere else. Okay? Just straight to the point. It looks like that. And that's something we talked about 6 days ago, was that Downs was in Athens. Okay? So we never could confirm that, but that was something that we talked about on the message board. And I'm fairly certain that that is accurate, but I could not nail that down. But anyway, and then you're going to get his position coach coming over from Alabama. And then after that, the position coach is recruited to go back to Alabama, but he says no. It's all lining up, but it's not happened. So let's just see what happens when it happens. But if a guy's in the portal, if a guy's, allegedly visiting Athens, if a guy's position coach, it's a straight line. Now, everything doesn't work that way, but Downs not being at Alabama is going to hurt Alabama, period. If he goes to Georgia, that's really going to hurt Alabama because not only does Georgia play Bama, but they're directly in their path. So, it would make a lot of sense for him to wind up there, but him just being in the portal, that is going to hurt them. And acting like it isn't is being naive.